long before Pottermania, before Pokemon was a thing, before I discovered Star Wars, or even The Lord of the Rings, before Avatar The Last Airbender, many, many moons ago, I fell in love with a franchise, and that franchise is called G.I. Joe. I'm going to tell you a happy tale about how cool I actually am. But for context, I have to give you some backstory so that you can fully understand that I mean it when I say this franchise means the most to me, and it began around 1995 on a sunny day when I was 3. Now kids, before the Fortnites and the Warzones and the Red Deads, gamers were the ones who enjoyed the good old NES. My sister, 3 years older than me, hoped to have some fun, so my brother handed her the controller and said, "Here, why don't you try this one?" It was a real American hero, and believe me, it made no sense. This was not a case of run and jump and save the dumb princess. Quite complex for its time, the game required a certain knack for strategy and timing. There was quite a lot to unpack. My brother showed my sister the ropes, and then he said something profound. Complete the game, and the G.I. Joe champion you will most certainly be crowned. And that, to me, was all it took. I swore that one day I'd be the greatest G.I. Joe champion in the world, or at least in my family. My sister played the game, and eventually the crown she indeed claimed, and so I set out to play and conquer this incredibly difficult game. But I didn't know what I was in for. I had no idea that a lifelong passion was about to unfold, and that I'd still love it after all these years. "Good morning, men. The time has come," General Hawk said to me, and that was the moment I pledged my undying allegiance to him and the G.I. Joe team. Duke, the most well-rounded, Captain Gridiron, the hardest hitter, Rock and Roll, the firepower, Blizzard, the runt of the litter, and Snake Eyes, the ninja, with no need for ammunition. I had officially been introduced, so I was ready for my first mission. So, to the Amazon I went, only to immediately fail. I was a wee young thing, and this game was hard, and so I had to travail. Skip ahead a year or two when I finally learned how to play. I knocked Range Viper, Metalhead, Overlord, and Voltar out of my goddamn way. And then I got to Destro, the bane of my early youth. I got stuck on this mission for an entire year. I can even prove this to you. The password for this mission to this day is burnt into my brain. Type in VRV JBS N83 and you'll get a glimpse of my immortalized pain. Either I'd run out of time, or Destro would sweep through my entire team. No matter how hard I tried, I just couldn't seem to beat him. I toiled, and I bled, and I pressed on and on, until a random day after school, when by some miracle, Destro was gone. On to Mission 6, when General Hawk comes out to play. I was so close to stopping Cobra and saving the day. Cobra Commando was no match for me. I took him out, just like that. And for the first time in my entire life, I felt like the coolest of cats. But my mission was far from over. I still had 2 rounds to go. So I went on to the second quest, which is much harder than the first, just so you know. By now, I was a seasoned player, so I was ready for the hurt. But much to my surprise, it wasn't actually difficult. It was easy. This time I waved Destro away like a fly, and Cobra Commander tried his tricks, but ultimately said goodbye. And so I went on to the third quest, the hardest of them all. I won't lie, it proved difficult, but I refused to fall. And so I went around again, until finally I reached the end. I had the title I worked so hard for, and to the throne I could ascend. It was glorious. I was the G.I. Joe champ, finally, at long last. Until we got G.I. Joe to the Atlantis Factor, and the tournament once again had to start. But this part of the tale is simple, because it's much the same. Eventually, my brother, my sister, and I all went on to beat the game. But I was the last to do so, so the champion I remain, and as of yet, nobody has come to end my reign. This tale may be silly, but this franchise made me who I am. G.I. Joe was the first story I ever loved, so I will always be a lifelong fan. It takes me back to the best days gone by, to good times, and to an era of fun. It reminds me of friendship, of my family, of my childhood, and of the sun. And for these reasons, and a whole lot more, though you may not believe what I say, G.I. Joe, to me, is the coolest, in every single way. I may not obsess as I do with the others, but it holds a dear place in my heart. It's my favorite by far, and it always has been, since the moment I first hit start.